Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween. This is Professor George. It is great to see you all today. Are you having a great day? I am. I got a lot of candy. It was amazing. Happy Halloween. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about understanding the dog fight or flight response. Oh, yes. Could you imagine? I had to deal with this all day today. I was getting scared left and right with all these children. I had to run away or fly. No, I'm just joking. It's. I don't have wings. It's not how it works. But we'll go over it together. But let's begin. So, let's start by talking about the canines' fight or flight response. They have the best way of understanding it. So, you may wonder what the dog fight or flight response means. No, it doesn't mean your dog will wear boxing gloves and fight in a ring. No. Nor does it mean he'll grow wings like, I just said, and fly away. The canine fight or flight response is an innate survival instinct that humans display as well. So, this is just something that's built within us to run away or fight someone. I do not support fighting. Do not fight anyone. That's not good. Be nice. Be good human beings. Or for me, a monkey. So, the fight or flight response in humans, I will never forget the day I had to teach a class and I had to tell them about a lecture of fight or flight response in humans. I was speaking very softly, so softly I felt like I was going to go to sleep. Suddenly, I threw a book at them. Yes, I threw a book at my students. Don't do that, professor. It's not good. No. I forcefully slammed the book on my desk. We all startled and looked at each other and wondered, like, what am I doing? All the students started looking and they're like, what's wrong with this guy? And the teacher, did I lose my mind? And then I explained, this is a perfect example of an adrenaline rush that will stimulate you to engage, to either fight me or to run away. Don't practice this, professors. It's not good. So, by definition, the fight or flight response is a physiological reaction, not under conscious control, that occurs when an animal or a human feels threatened. It was first described by American psychologist Walter Cannon in 1920. This chain reaction calls it a cascade of events that is meant to help the body deal with threatening circumstances. It all starts in the amygdala, which triggers the activation of the pituitary gland. This causes a sudden release in these things called catecholamines. Catecholamines. Yeah, it's very tough to pronounce, but it's a hormone, as well as a neurotransmitter, including cortisol, a metabolite of cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. This leads to a series of changes in the body and mind that we will now examine more closely. Physiological changes caused by fight or flight in dogs. So, pay attention. The release of hormones and neurotransmitters during the fight or flight acute stress response causes a variety of physiological changes in a dog. These physiological changes are the body's effort to create a boost of energy sufficient to get the dog out of trouble and survive. While it is very brief, an acute response to a suspect trigger may cause temporary physiological changes. The effects of chronic, prolonged stress in dogs can lead to long-term or can cause a long-term undermine the dog's immune system. This causes physiological changes. So, these physiological changes include increased heart rate in the dog, increased breathing, increased blood flow to muscles, increased muscle tension, increased blood pressure, increased blood clotting, oh my god, I'm having a headache, increased blood sugar, appetite suspension, blood flow goes from skin and intestines to the muscles for action. So, dilated pupils, heightened senses, that's insane. The inability to concentrate on complex tasks, that's another thing. When something scares me, I can't focus at all, According to Hans Selye, the Hungarian-Canadian endocrinologist and stress response scientists, the stressed body goes through a general adaptation syndrome. After the initial activation, alarm phase of fight or flight, the body goes through a resistance phase where homeostasis works on restoring balance and recovery. This is when the dog shakes off the stress, so to relax those tight muscles. They shake it off. You ever seen a dog just shake? That's what they're doing. They're relieving their stress. And then it resumes their normal breathing, and his heart rate starts to slow down. The exhaustion phase is then see if the stress is allowed to continue for some time, and the resistance phase is repeated too often. And in this case, a burnout occurs when negative effects on the body. The dog's immune system is lowered, cognitive functions are depleted, energy levels lower. It is insane of what happens when you're just scared. So, this is what happens when you choose fight or flight. We're going to go over these things. These are special circumstances. So, the choice of fight or flight varies depending on the situation. For instance, a dog who just gave birth to puppies will choose to fight if the puppies are threatened by an animal rather than flee, leaving the vulnerable puppies at risk. Whereas some dogs may normally flee when presented with frightening stimuli, something that makes them want to leave. But this may result to fight if their escape routes are blocked. So, some dogs' breeds may be more likely to choose fight over flight and flight over fight. A learned component may be at play as well. So, you know how you can teach a dog to fight when it gets scared? That's possible. So sometimes fight or flight is something that can be taught. A dog who is predisposed to flee may decide to fight first if his attempts to flee were often unsuccessful in the past. This is the dog who's stressed by children chasing him and cornering him to decide to bite one day to make the chasing stop once and for all. Interestingly, when dogs are faced with a perceived threat, they don't necessarily go into fight or flight. They may also have a plan C or a plan D, a plan E. Who knows? They can keep on going. There are 26 letters in the alphabet, right? Possibly. I'm a professor. I should know these things. Well, basically, the fight or flight response can be extended by adding the freeze, faint, and full around response. In nature, we can see the 5F reaction in a variety of animals. A lion feeling threatened will often fight a zebra feeling threatened, and then that zebra may flee, or a rabbit feeling threatened may freeze as if it becoming almost invisible. The fainting goat is an example of an animal that truly faints when in static panic. Even though this is not the greatest example, as this is mostly caused by hereditary genetic disorder, but these are all different things that these animals do when they are scared. Some fight, some run, some freeze, some pass out. There's always something. Well, there's also a full around response. These may sound harmless, but it's a really sort of displacement behavior. Basically, the dog is taking off the steam from a stressful situation by engaging in a totally different behavior, such as rolling on the floor, catering to a sudden itch, or, yeah. These are not signs of a disobedient dog who's acting out, but signs that the dog is stressed. So pay attention to your dog and try to recognize triggers that may cause the fight or flight response. Because these same things may cause us to do the same thing. We're not going to roll over. We might fight someone or we might run away. But reactions in animals often are sort of the same in humans. But, yes. As always, this is the end of our lesson today, and I appreciate you all for being here. Happy Halloween. I hope you learned something today with Professor George. You all have a great day. I'll see you on the next one.